Our guest today has been helping families across the globe for over 30 years. Can you believe that? From mealtime meltdowns to bedtime back chat and everything in between. Supernanny Jo Frost has seen it all, and she is here now with her tips to tackle all of those lockdown parenting dilemmas. So a really warm welcome to you, Jo. Hello.
Hello, ladies. How are you? Thank you for having me.
We are all good because our kids are older now, which is great. Oh, apart from Kelly, or actually Kelly, I'm so sorry I've left you out because yours are still little and you're dealing with homeschooling and all this sort of thing.
Mate, Jo, I wish you were in the studio. I would be hugging you like full on major hug right now. You have rescued me on so many levels. Like literally, I followed you every step of the way. I used your step method and it absolutely worked because when I was brought up, my mum and dad raised me to unfortunately hit, when I was growing up, I was hit as a child and I didn't want to take that stance. So thank you so much. But I just wanted to ask, so my eldest is now 8. And it kind of feels like the step is a little bit primary now. So I just wondered if there were any tips on discipline actions for when they're a little bit older.
It is, but you should be at a stage now, especially your son's age, where he is a part of that conversation. At a very young age, it's, cause and effect. It's like you behave this way and here are the consequences. The moment on the step, as you know, when you follow them, is about reflection. It's about your children understanding eventually what they've done and to create more self-regulation with the positive. So it's a yin-yang in how that works together. You've got to instill the positive and encourage and support, as well as go to when you've given your child a warning. At the age that you have now with your oldest child, I would say what's most important is to have them very much involved in the conversation, for you to be talking about scenarios, for you to be allowing them to understand what the full picture is so that you empower them to make those decisions first without recklessly just not thinking, not being mindful, and then going ahead and doing what they're doing. And the way we do that is 2 things. That is to create more emotional maturity. So make sure your child is more involved in doing things around the house that are to task, giving more responsibility, letting them know that you trust them to achieve. With the emotional maturity, what you will see certainly is your child feel good about accomplishing, building their self-esteem, so that when you're able to have a conversation in saying, look, here's your warning, this is not okay, I've already spoke about this, and this is what will happen, you can have the go-to that is currency for them. So what is that? Is it a loss of privilege? Is it something that you had already instilled that you're now saying, well, we're going to have to only have, half an hour doing that instead of an hour? So it really is about the maturity of bringing your children to a stage that really should be eliminated. Does that make sense to you, Kelly?
Fudge, Jo, that's not going to go down too well in my house.
All right. I bet it needs to do maybe a little bit more around the home, a little bit more active listening where you have face-to-face conversations. And there are 2 types of listening, right? One is to reply and one is to learn. So what is he doing? Is he learning when he's listening, or is he thinking about how he's going to reply and be quick-witted?
You're brilliant. So just briefly, everybody's having the same struggle, homeschooling. I know that's a lot about time management and structure.
It is. Yeah, it is. What I will say is parents do need to cut themselves some slack. I'm not polarized when it comes to parenting. Don't throw the towel in, but lean on friends who may know more than yourself. It became quite a gateway with parents feeling a little bit ashamed that they didn't know how to do the homework or they didn't understand it. And, we all saw those, those memes that went out and said, I feel really stupid. Lean on friends if you don't understand what that is. Set up a time during the day that's conducive and quiet for learning. Let your child go through the homework with you. Let them decide what they're going to do first. And then the reward are the privileges of the things that they may want to do afterwards. So it doesn't have to be a battle, but it's more a case of the mindset when you are getting through the homework. It's a discipline that's necessary, and under the circumstances of risk assessment and understanding the importance that I believe is why children shouldn't have gone back to school just now, I will say that summer shouldn't be without schoolwork. You know, we do need to be able to keep up that little bit of self-discipline and actually do some schoolwork throughout the summer holidays as well.
But Jo, also, the thing about not going back to school, just another quick question for you, is the socialisation, because actually kids are really missing their friends. So what can parents do to sort of help that?
They are. Well, under the circumstances and the guidelines, we do know that those households have eased up, which will allow certainly parents to be with their younger children in settings that will allow them to be able to socialise, but with distancing. What I will say is that technology has always had to be monitored. So what we want to make sure is that we can gravitate to getting our kids out, but making sure that education and entertainment and socialisation is met through those play dates and the times for us to connect with moderation. With teenagers, it's all about being out and socialising and mixing and going around to your boyfriend's house and meeting up with your girlfriend and chatting. And we can do that at a safe distance. And we can also make sure that we're doing that on technology through our tablets and our phones. With younger children, none of us really know what the outcome is, certainly of children not having spent enough time. But I don't think it's going to be as catastrophic as everybody is actually creating the narrative right now. We're hoping next year there'll be a vaccine. We know that children will be able to have play dates. We know that they'll be able to be surrounded by other children taking walks through the parks and getting out and being very active. So what's most important is to support that with a routine that can be flexible, you know, because a routine holds us to task. Okay. It allows us to get up and Adam, to get ready, make our beds. I'm not saying that every day has to be a school uniform on or even dressed. Maybe a couple of days of that week you're doing your homework.
Jo, I'm afraid we're going to have to be up and Adam because we're crashing off air. But it's been so nice to have you on the show today.